Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here with John O'Sullivan, who is the Managing Director of Tourism Australia. We're here in Melbourne at the Virtuoso Symposium. And we're going to talk about Australia's strategy with luxury travel, and this is Insider Travel Report. John, obviously, here we are at the Virtuoso Symposium. We've been talking a lot about luxury travel, and Tourism Australia has actually developed a strategy over the last few years to really focus on that. Talk a little bit about how that strategy developed and how it's heading, where it's heading in the future.
Well, thanks, James. Yeah, Tourism Australia has re-entered the luxury travel market. We did so in 2015. And I guess the golden nugget that we took from was the UNWTO Leagues table, where they told us that we weren't the mass volume destinations in the world, but we were one of the most high yielding. And from there we decided that we really wanted to concentrate and focus on experiential travel, re-engaging with our partnership with the Virtuoso, and in particular start educating their advisors about how Australia could best meet the needs of their customers. So our strategy now is really built around marketing the country on experiences, marketing the country as a high yield aspirational destination, and targeting what we call the high value traveller.
And we did talk about who are those luxury travelers. You gave a presentation sort of drilling down about who they were, right?
Yeah, there are. There's about 75 million of them in the world, but what they are is they're people who spend 2 to 3 times the amount of an average traveller. They're the type of traveller that seek out experiences, whether they're based in nature and wildlife, culture, food and drink is a key driver of travel. And they're also travellers that will disperse. So they will go not only into the capital cities, but they will go into regional centres as well. So they're a very unique traveller, and they're someone that we think is very valuable. They're less volatile, they're more resilient as a traveller, and they're exactly the type of traveller that fits Australia as a destination.
You've also developed these sort of 8 categories of different types of travel, many of which do focus on the luxury traveler. Talk a little bit about that, because you also have created almost 650 experiences, I think, on those, and there were a number of them. Talk a little bit about that if you could.
Yeah, we have 8 collectives in our Signature Experiences of Australia program, and that is 8 collectives, 175 tourism businesses, and over 650 bookable experiences. And what they are, they're niches that Australia has a competitive advantage in, or has a unique attribute in. So they started in 2010. The very first one was our Luxury Lodges of Australia program. That we then added golf, we then added wine, we then added walking. Then in 2016 we said, you know what, this program has been so successful, we want to expand on this, and particularly as we were partnering with the likes of Virtuoso, we wanted to give those advisors something more to talk about around Australia. So we added fishing, we then added Indigenous culture. We have the longest continuous Indigenous culture anywhere on the planet. We then added wildlife, and then most recently we've added cultural attractions, so museums, places of history, to take advantage of emerging trends and that we see in each of those collectives. And the great thing about these collectives is that advisors and travel agents have been telling us around the world that they can mix and match some of the experiences, because they often match on geography. A lot of them are in regional parts of Australia, but there are also many in the capital cities, and it's just provided a far more flexible offering for travel agents to mix and match itineraries.
Well, I've also noticed, and we heard it here, that Melbourne itself, and it seems to be sort of booming in terms of hotel development, and many high-end chains are coming in here, right?
That's right. I mean, Melbourne is the success story of modern-day Australian tourism, and has been, to be honest, since back in the 1980s and early 1990s. There was a premier called Jeff Kennett who made the decision that he really wanted to back the sector, and he developed the theatres in Melbourne. He went and stole the Australian Grand Prix from the people of Adelaide. He really turbocharged tourism as a sector in this market. And what he did was he wanted to change the perception of Melbourne. Melbourne was traditionally a very industrial city. It wasn't the beautiful, pretty city that you see that Sydney is. It didn't have a harbour, it didn't have a reef, it didn't have a massive rock out the back, but it had things to do, and it had great culture, it had great food. It's the melting pot of Australia.
Great wine area.
Great wine area around places like the Yarra Valley or Mornington Peninsula. And successive governments have backed it, including the current government, and we heard from Martin Bakula today, that, you know, they have just rolled in investment, and places like Crown, where we're standing in today doing this interview, have continually invested. There's a great annualised events calendar, so it takes the volatility out of visitation. And what you're seeing is it is normally the first market mover on luxury brands coming back into Australia. So things like the Ritz-Carlton and brands such as that are coming back here. It's a 24-hour city, has an airport as big as Sydney without the curfew and without the restrictions, and it's a modern-day success story of our industry.
Well, I've been to Sydney, I've been to Adelaide. It's the first time for Melbourne, and I really am very surprised at what I'm finding here, because it is a very different, it is a 24-hour city, it's got luxury, it's got a lot of areas. Hopefully I'll get a chance to get outside. Now, in terms of what travel advisors should know, I know you have your Aussie Specialist program. Are you instituting more training to get them to know that there is a real strong luxury travel component here in Australia?
Yeah, we are. We're really doubling down on that because of the high-yielding nature of the client that the advisors get. So through our Aussie Specialist program, and I think the website is www.asp.com.au or through tourism.australia.com. We're continually updating the modules, we're continually investing in technology, we're continually investing in education for advisors. We've recently just done an Aussie Specialist Ambassadors program where we've selected key agents they've had to submit for a competition to be selected as an ambassador, come to Australia, blog their experiences and then post that through the networks. So we're continually looking to invest in this because we do believe that as technology has become more and more prevalent, the need for advisors, the need for travel agents has never become stronger. You want a trusted source of advice, you want someone to cut through the white noise, and that's why this market's so important for us. We're over-investing in familials, hosting events like Symposium, so for us it's a really key part of our strategy.
Well, John, anything else you want to tell travel advisors in the States about Australia's tourism strategy going forward in the luxury sector or elsewhere?
Well, look, what I'd say to all of the advisors out there is that there's never been a better time to come to Australia. We are a welcoming country. Your clients will have a fantastic time. It is easy to get there. From the east coast of America, you can go through the Middle East if you want and land in all of our capital cities, or you can come through the west coast. It's a short flight. It's a couple of wines, a couple of movies, a good sleep. You're in one of the most beautiful parts of the world, and most importantly, we're a safe, welcoming, cost-effective country for you. And I just say, get out there and sell it. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't need 6 weeks to do Australia. You need 1 week to do it and keep coming back multiple times. We love North America. That's why we over-invested in the last couple of years through our Dundee campaign. We'll continue to do so. It's such an important market, and we look forward to welcoming more and more North Americans, and particularly from the US, into Australia.
Well, John, thank you for taking the time here in Melbourne to talk about Australia's strategy, which is focused on luxury now, and believe me, there are plenty of luxury experiences to be had here in Australia. And once again, it's a great destination. This is only the second time I've been here, but I want to come back and experience all that Australia has to offer. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, James. We're not going to let him come back. He's going to stay here. He's an honorary Australian.
Absolutely. I'm there. I'm going to stay right here in Melbourne, and this is James Shillinglaw for Insider Travel Report.